The Old Lady Killer, Inside the Mind of Juana Barraza. Welcome to The Most Evil, where we delve into the minds of history's most notorious serial killers. We investigate the unsettling case of Juana Barraza, popularly referred to as La Mataviejitas, the Old Lady Killer today. Come along as we investigate the mysterious life and deeds of this former professional wrestler who became serial killer, as well as the effects of her atrocities on Mexico City. Barraza was born in Hidalgo, Mexico, on December 27, 1957. His turbulent childhood was characterized by abuse, instability, and destitution. Growing up in a troubled home with an alcoholic mother, Barraza experienced abuse and neglect at a young age. She was exposed to the harsh realities of life on the streets, where she battled to survive among the poverty and violence that surrounded her, because she lacked a solid familial support structure. Barraza sought comfort and an escape from the trials of childhood in the professional wrestling business, where she would eventually become well-known and well-respected as La Dama del Silencio, the Lady of Silence. But beneath her tough exterior, there was a very disturbed person attempting to heal the wounds from her traumatic past. Although Barraza's wrestling experiences gave her a sense of control and empowerment, they also acted as a mask to hide the underlying conflict and evil that existed within her. Barraza's personal life remained difficult and unstable despite her fame in the wrestling industry. Her horrific background and the inner demons that lurked within made it difficult for her to make meaningful connections and relationships. Juana Barraza emerged from the furnace of her traumatic history and simmering psychological anguish, a deeply wounded person, haunted by demons that would eventually drive her to carry out heinous acts of violence. Juana Barraza was on a murderous rampage in Mexico City between the mid-1990s and 2006, specifically targeting elderly ladies who were deemed defenseless. Her victims, many of whom were poor and lonely, were strangled to death with anything from stockings to telephone lines. Barraza's motivation for the murders is still unknown. However, some people assume that she killed them because she had a deep-seated animosity for older women, which may have originated from her difficult connection with her own mother. Although some estimates indicate the actual number of old people Barraza killed may have been far higher, she was found guilty of the murders of 11 of them in all. Juana Barraza's methodical and predatory attitude to her acts as a serial murderer was typified by her ability to precisely and slyly target elderly women who were easily preyed upon. Barraza used a mix of physical force, trickery, and manipulation to get access to her victims and carry out her murderous acts, drawing on her experience as a professional wrestler. Her meticulous methodology enabled her to carry out her crimes with a disturbing degree of efficiency and avoid suspicion. A key component of Barraza's approach was her ability to take advantage of society's beliefs of authority and trust. She frequently pretended to be a social worker or government official in order to enter the homes of her victims. Once inside, she would pretend to care about and understand her elderly victims, winning their trust until she eventually betrayed them in the most horrible way possible. Barraza's selection of victims, usually old women living in poverty alone, reflected her awareness of their helplessness and weakness, which made them prime prey for her greedy tendencies. Barraza also used violence and intimidation as a means of controlling her victims in order to enforce obedience and silence any opposition. She frequently used stockings or telephone cables to strangle her victims, leaving a path of savagery and devastation in her wake. Because of Barraza's meticulous approach to murder and her skill at tricking and manipulating her victims, she was able to avoid detection for years, spreading fear and anxiety across the town while she carried out her uncontrolled reign of evil. There were several difficulties and obstacles encountered throughout the criminal investigation of Juana Barraza. Even with the increasing number of killings and the case's similarities, law enforcement had trouble at first identifying a culprit. A breakthrough did not come about until 2006, when Ana Maria de los Reyes Alfaro, Barraza's 10th victim, was killed. Barraza was eventually arrested after entering Alfaro's apartment building, as seen by surveillance footage. Following an inquiry, a trail of evidence was found that connected Barraza to several killings. This evidence included DNA samples and testimonies from victims who were still alive. In 2006, Juana Barraza's terror reign finally came to an end after a thorough investigation and a sequence of crucial incidents that resulted in her detention. After Ana Maria de los Reyes Alfaro, the 11th documented victim of Barraza, was brutally killed in Mexico City, the case made significant progress. The day of the murder, Barraza was seen entering Alfaro's apartment building on surveillance film, which was vital evidence that finally led to her arrest. Based on the information obtained from the surveillance film, law enforcement officials moved quickly to locate and detain Barraza by conducting a huge manhunt. As the case gained national attention and the public was on high alert, pressure on the police to apprehend the infamous Mataviejitas increased. Juana Barraza was eventually found by authorities in a Mexico City area after a thorough search. After living in constant fear of the elusive killer for years, the city's citizens felt relieved when she was apprehended without any problems, signaling the end of her reign of terror. After Barraza was captured, the country of Mexico and beyond was rocked by the realization that such horrible acts could be committed by an apparently normal woman. She was found guilty of 16 murder charges in 2008 and given a 759-year jail sentence, which pretty much guaranteed she would live out the remainder of her days behind bars. A sad chapter in Mexico's history came to an end with Juana Barraza's capture, which offered some justice for the lives she had taken and closure to the families of those she had killed. Regarding the nature of evil and the intricacies of the human psyche, the case of Juana Barraza poses important questions. Psychologists have made an effort to examine Barraza's reasons, making assumptions about how her violent inclinations were shaped by her experiences as a professional wrestler and her difficult childhood. Her victims' families, as well as the larger community, are left with a lifelong legacy of terror and terror. The case also brought attention to Mexico City's elderly women's dilemma and the need for more protection and assistance for this vulnerable group. As we reach the end of our investigation into Juana Barraza's life and misdeeds, the darkness that exists within every human spirit serves as a sobering reminder. Barraza's narrative serves as a warning about the terrible results of uncontrolled violence and the necessity of maintaining vigilance against the possibility of evil lurking among us.
If you found this video insightful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more content on true crime and psychological analysis. Remember to stay vigilant, and until next time, stay safe.